Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. Smash that subscribe button, guys, because we are covering the juiciest story of the year. Pique and Shakira breaking up. I'm just kidding, but it is about Pique, right, Yus? Welcome to the YouTube channel /podcast. Let's get into it, Yus, because like I alluded to, there's been some drama around Pique and Shakira. There was a huge allegation that, totally false, by the way, that Pique was sleeping with Xavi's mom, right, which was just insanity. But I want to talk today about the actual rumors that, again, every time we have one of these summer transfer rumor videos, we kind of say, hey, we have to be really, really apprehensive to believe whatever's in the press. But I saw quite a few papers bringing up a story, which is that, Xavi has told Pique he's not in his plans as a starter next season. And this is not entirely shocking because I think as you're about to go into use, there are some money considerations because Pique is definitely like the quintessential old guard of the last 4 years who's kind of continuously deferred his payments. It was Pique and his choosing to, I think, cut his salary and defer his payment and like not telling Messi that has caused some drama there in the Messi Pique camp. Pique is also involved in tennis and I think the Davis Cup and setting up, different tennis tournaments in Spain. He's also got his hand in a lower division Spanish team. He's got this drama with Shakira going on. And so I'm trying to kind of, square the circle here, right? Like what is going on? Because if we're just taking Pique as a player, when he was healthy last season, I thought he was phenomenal, right? And when we saw Eric Garcia have a bunch of shaky performances, some pretty bad red cards, right? He gave that penalty away in like the second minute against Galatasaray at home in the second leg of the Europa League semifinal, which was just, kind of a moment that seemed to start the end of our season early. You saw Lengelet try to make a few appearances. Me and you, we're both big Lengelet fans, but Lengelet was not able to recapture his old form. Umtiti runs slower than me, and so that's what's confusing here, Yus, is that on the one hand, I think Pique is a vital player who, even at his age, still had some great performances last season, and it was someone who I think, when paired with Araujo, forms a pretty formidable back two. On the other side, right, I think we all have that PTSD of this old guard, right? You look back at the pictures of Roma, of Anfield, of Galatasaray, and any of these bad performances by Barca in big European nights, and Pique is there, right, along with Lengelet and Busquets and Jordi Alba. And so I kind of see that we need to move on. It's just the news about Pique being pushed to the side is not really being combined with the rumors that we're going to get Koundé or Koulibaly from Napoli. And so I just, if we get rid of Pique and we don't get anyone else, what the hell are we going to do, right? And so, Yus, I went on a little bit of a rant there. Why don't you go ahead and take it away and just let me know your thoughts?
Sure, yeah. I mean, okay, look at it this way. We have Pique who has, stumbled upon a lot of injuries recently near this end of the season, and I can totally understand that maybe he is not totally reliable coming into next season to those injuries due to not being completely focused on Barcelona and being that bulwark.
35 years old.
Yeah, so all these things combined, they are bad. But, I mean, it's also weird that we would not be having this similar conversation with Busquets, with Jordi Alba, because for the example of Busquets, we do have other options to play, aside from the fact that we might be selling Frankie de Jong, however that whole thing goes with Manchester United, but there's definitely more midfielders, and there's not really anybody to cover Jordi Alba. And you said this earlier, we have Pique, but who do we have to back him up? And if we're not going to be able to get any signings this summer because we're short on cash, which is probably what this whole thing is about, sort of. They're in the reports talking about Xavi saying that he was not going to be relied upon coming this next season. There was some notes about him relinquishing about $40 million or somewhat in that range of his contract up to 2024. So that it seems like part of it is about money, but at the same time, is that the best move for Barcelona in this case? Because we already know all the troubles that we're having financially and the lack of players that we have to back up that position. And lastly, which is the the whole problem with just like what the hell are we going to do in the summer, and are we going to be able to get Koundé? Is that even real? Like, how much money are we going to be able to have?
60 million at least from Sevilla.
Yeah.
No chance. Koulibaly, I think, is a good option. He's 30 years old, right, playing for Napoli, and I think we can get him for a cheaper price. So that's a possibility. But again, nothing seems good, right? Like,
Sure.
I know we had the video a few weeks ago where we talked about, hey, let's wait until Barca are able to sell some licensing rights, some streaming rights. Let's see what type of money we can get to come in. But all the statements from Tebas, all the statements from Laporta are all about, we need to have a very tight purse this offseason. And so I'm really curious to see, how could we be talking about getting rid of Pique without, any serious attempts to get another center back in? One question I want to have for you, Yus, and I'm not entirely sure if I believe this narrative, but I've seen it go around a little bit on social media. Like, do you think the Shakira issue is kind of the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of after, his tennis aspirations, managing another team, always coming out and talking about wanting to be president, now the Shakira issue? Do you think it's possible that Pique has kind of caused too much drama around, the team and himself for Xavi to want him to count on for next season?
I mean, it's probably definitely a consideration, but at the end of the day, I don't think that could be the driving force completely for a decision like this. This is a major decision. It affects our whole defensive line, right? Because we can't rely on Stegen. He's not making any wonder
dude,
saves.
I mean, let's just cut the BS, dude. Okay? We saw Eric Garcia last season and how he performed, and we didn't like it, right? Barca Breakdown, not big Eric Garcia fans. I know we need to temper our expectations and hope that, Eric Garcia, with another year of experience under Xavi, will grow into his position and get better. But who's the best player to give, Garcia some tips and have him kind of under his wing? I think it's Gerard Piqué. Umtiti we want to get rid of, but he doesn't want to get rid of his contract. Lengelet also is basically trying to stay. They're both part of that group that don't want to leave because the money's too good. And so, we're really screwed, right? Like, we talk so much about Lewandowski, about Di Maria, about possible signings in the midfield. And it's like our defense has really been the black hole that's really screwed us for the last few seasons. And so, how many goals did we let up against Galatasaray in that not Galatasaray, Frankfurt, sorry, is what I should have said Frankfurt earlier too. But when we played against Frankfurt and Eric Garcia gave up that penalty, we let up, 3 or 4 goals in a second leg at the Camp Nou in the European semifinal? I mean, it's really just been a joke for our performances. And so, I don't think we can just sit here and get rid of Pique, not have reinforcements, and expect anything of next season.
Well, I think that's kind of one of my biggest fears here coming into next season is after seeing the start of last season, how awful we did and the hole that we had to dig ourselves out of to get to the second place spot. If we're going to take this player out and just say, we're not going to play you due to these circumstances, whatever you have it's very weird because at least if you gave him the opportunity to come into next season and, if he is continuously diverting his attention to tennis or whatever, or maybe there's other things that clearly in the locker room he's not being a senior player and leading his team to victory and, picking them off the floor when they're down, then sure, I would. That conversation is totally fine. But I don't think just saying like, "Hey, next season you're not going to play" is the way to go because it's just going to cause so much chaos. And I'm afraid that we're going to have to dig ourselves out of another hole, watch Real Madrid win again, and we're just going to be banging our heads against the wall because we have nobody to back us up in this sport. And it is just it's weird because I think about this in the sense that Dembele wasn't signing his contract, basically not saying he was going to continue next year, and there was talk about him not playing in that season, the season we just ended. But yet we had him being pulled off the bench, being played in games, consistently doing well. Why would we then just take a player who has a contract to 2024 and basically say, and he's played on this team for how many years, right, and won how many trophies with us, that hey, we're not going to play with you anymore? It is really weird to me. That,
I mean, I think it's BS, right? Like when the article comes full around, I think it's BS. We saw Pique being posted by the Barca Twitter accounts today, like a no days off. He was playing some game with medicine balls and trying different difficulties. But let us know in the comments what you guys think. Please hit that subscribe button. We'll be back with some more stories soon. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, guys.